Is he seeing us? Oh, no, we got it. Oh, yeah, okay, we're good. We're golden.
All right, Mayor, we are good to go.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It is 7:01 on Tuesday, March 12, 2024, and I now call to order the 2134th regular meeting of the City of College Place City Council. Catherine, will you please take roll call?
Councilmember Jessup,
Present.
Councilmember Cleveland,
Present.
Councilmember Espinosa,
Present.
Councilmember Peterson,
Present.
Councilmember Williams,
Present.
Councilmember Sherman,
Present.
and Councilmember Boyle has asked to be excused today. We do have a quorum.
Excellent, thank you. Will you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? All right, it's time for public comment. Did anyone submit a comment in advance?
We did not receive any in advance, and we have one virtual attendee.
Okay. If the person in virtual attendance would like to speak, please raise your hand now. Star 9 is use star 9 to raise your hand if you're connected by phone. Okay, hearing none, and there's no guest in the lobbies, council chambers, so we're going to move on to the consent agenda. It consists of tonight's agenda, March 12, 2024, the city council minutes from February 27th, 2024, the council workshop minutes from March 5th, 2024, the resolution to amend the city council rules, section 8.3, the appointment confirmation of Ben Solari to the Youth Advisory Commission, November 2023 financials, the cancellation of the March 26, 2024 council meeting, and excusing the absence of Councilmember Boyle. Are there any items any council member would like to have removed from the consent agenda? And if not, is there a motion?
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, did we hear anybody that's connected online?
We didn't hear the online council members
Yeah.
vote.
Aye.
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 Great. And I'm assuming that aye is for in favor?
I mean, if everyone else is in favor, I'll be opposed. No, I'm just kidding. I'm in favor.
Always Heather. Okay, all right, so let's actually, Councilmember X Sherman, what's your last name now?
Undecided at the moment, still Sherman.
Oh, still Sherman,
But
okay.
thank you. I did get married in case anybody's wondering.
Yeah, so congratulations to
Congrats.
Councilmember
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Heather.
There we go. Councilmember Heather. That's a good one.
Councilmember Heather for now.
Heather undecided.
Perfect.
Yeah, but truly, congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's no presentations on the agenda tonight, and there's no public hearings, so we're gonna just move along to action items, which there are 5 of on tonight's agenda. First, Mr. McAndrews will present on the Kiwanis Park improvements.
Thank you, Mayor. Since Lions Park, as I think you all know, will be under construction this year, starting next week, actually. We were looking for a place to house the farmer's market as opposed to doing it in the parking lot. And so we engaged Anderson Perry as our consultant engineers working on Lions Park and asked them to put together a design to add electrical to Kiwanis Park so that we could accommodate farmers market and also to be able to accommodate future events, whether it's musicians in the gazebo or food trucks or things like that. And so we put together a design and put it out to bid, and we had 4 bidders. The apparent low bid was Walla Walla Electric at $66,034.16. The project will include pedestal mounted electrical meter and a disconnect near the parking lot, a lockable 50 amp outlet at the gazebo, 6 20 amp outlets and 3 30 amp outlets in underground vaults out in the lawn, kind of to the north of the gazebo, and then all the conduit and electrical installation that goes with that and the landscape restoration. So the goal is to have this project awarded, and so they can get going on it and wrap it up by the end of April, so that all the landscape restoration can take place and set and be ready for farmers market come May. Yeah, any questions?
All right, Councilmember Jessup,
No, but thank you.
Problem.
Councilmember Cleveland,
No questions, but this looks really great.
Councilmember Espinosa.
Question, the infrastructure that will be installed for the electrical outlets at the park, are those gonna be, it sounds like it's gonna be underground, and my question is, are they gonna have any impact to the park users when they're running around or playing frisbee or walking through the park? Any hazards that could be caused out of those improvements done to the park that you know of?
We did our best to position it in a location in the park that would be minimally impactful. That being said, there will be ground boxes flush mounted with the lawn. If you could pull up the site plan, you can kind of see this is just a page out of the plans that kind of shows the general layout. So the gazebo is kind of there in the middle of the screen. And so there'll be a pedestal mounted 50 amp outlet right there next to the gazebo. So that'll be sticking up, but it shouldn't be impactful to normal use. And then the rest of that kind of heading off to the west and north is underground with 3 underground vaults that will have those outlets in them. And they're strategically placed kind of to split the difference of where you'd have farmers market booths. So we tried to set those, if you look at, it's kind of overlaid on an aerial along the edge of the drip line of the trees so that it wouldn't be impactful to the roots, but it also be as far out of kind of the middle of the grassy area there as possible. So the big grassy area where a lot of the sports activities takes place is still to the north of that. So we did our best to position in a location where it'd be as least impactful as possible.
Appreciate it, thank you.
No problem.
Councilmember Peterson, sorry, I'm sitting here trying to remember your name, sorry. That's
No questions.
Councilmember Williams,
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Heather.
No questions, thank you.
All right, so if there's no questions or no further discussion items, do we have a motion?
Yeah, I moved to award Kiwanis Park improvements to Walla Electric for $66,034.16, plus roughly a 15% project contingency for a total of $75,000.
Second, Councilmember Cleveland.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Is there any additional discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Thank you, Mr. McAndrews, appreciate it.
No problem.
You can have a good night if you like.
I'll stick around for now. Thank you.
Okay. Next, Ms. Colwell will present on College Holdings LLC Memorandum of Understanding for Stone Creek Downtown Tax Increment Financing District.
Thank you, Mayor. I discussed this with Mr. Rickard, whether we both need to be here, and we decided we didn't both need to be here. So hopefully that's okay with council that he's excused. So what is before council today is a resolution to authorize the city administrator to sign an MOU with College Holding LLC. Now that might be a unique name in front of you because we were talking about potential developments when we were discussing the tax increment financing and our TIF ordinance with Stone Creek or Lakeside development. If you recall, that was what was in the project analysis that estimated what the city would receive in tax increment financing if this were to be developed. So the owner is Stone Creek. The entity that's going to develop is College Holding LLC. We're working with the exact same people on the project. So what has been happening behind the scenes is staff has been working with representatives of College Holding and kind of getting all of these moving parts into pieces when the city is going to borrow the money to improve the infrastructure that is contemplated by the TIF. When they are going to start developing the property, things like that. And we've all come to the conclusion that is outlined in this MOU, basically setting a deadline for them to get their initial application in so we can get the ball rolling. And with that, our intention to start developing the property with public improvements through financing. And I will entertain any questions.
All right. Councilmember Jessup, questions? Or comments?
No, but thanks for the clarity.
Councilmember Cleveland,
No questions.
Councilmember Espinosa,
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Peterson,
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Williams,
No questions. Thank you.
and Councilmember Heather.
No questions. Thanks, Ree.
All right, so we have no questions or comments. Do we have a motion for this resolution?
I'll motion to adopt resolution number 24-016, which authorizes the city administrator to sign the MOU between the city of College Place and College Holding LLC.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed.
Thank you.
Ms. Colwell. Next on the agenda is a fiscal year 2024 community grant program recommended allocation.
Okay, thank you. So with this item, I introduced this at the council meeting last month. So every year we have the orderly process by which community organizations and groups that provide services to residents can essentially put in a pretty simple application for community project funding into the city. We put out the application as soon as the budget is voted on by the city council, and then they pretty much have the entirety of January to submit applications. And then we have an ad hoc committee of folks that represent our various advisory commissions and the mayor that grade the applications and then essentially add up all scores and then where the trends are at, divvy up the money accordingly. In years past, starting 2020, our original year, we had 4 applications. This year, went all the way up to 12 applications, so it exponentially increases. So you'll see what the recommendations are. So YMCA 2,500 full requests, Koala 2,000 full requests. That's very important because, as you know, we're pretty close to getting this creative district underway, so very important. YWCA 1,630, Center for Humanitarian Engagement 2,000, College Place Public Schools Schools, $500. The Common Roots Housing Land Trust, $4,870. And then Friends of Children Walla Walla, $1,500. And that is the generalized breakout. You can see all the applications attached. But generally, if council approves all this, then tomorrow we'll get out the contracts with everyone and go for there.
Thank you. Councilmember Jessup, questions or comments?
This is great. I had a quick question, only simply just to refresh my memory, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Can you remind me of the creative district, like briefly?
Yeah, so creative district, that's a mechanism the state has developed where you make a zone and then you have to have a fiduciary essentially help with improvements that really showcase any sort of art. And that can go from cooking food to making art to making baked goods, whatever. And with that district, if essentially you have to do a full-on application to Arts Washington, turn it in, then they have a whole panel of experts grade them, and then if they accept you as a creative district, you get that designation, and it opens up several grant opportunities for anything art related. And as I said, the state definition is a pretty wide spectrum, and then ours is very unique in the case that this is the first proposed district that's a joint dual municipal district. We're the first one in the state like that. So Art Walla, since they really function as the art nonprofit over in Walla Walla, they do the Art Squared over here. They helped with the traffic box art wraps. They play ball in both communities, so they're essentially the fiduciary. So this will help essentially fund like our share of it. They're going to get some startup money from the state, but there still is a liability out there. But it's definitely when this thing gets approved by state, it's a big deal because it's relatively new. And I think so far there's only like 8 or 9 of them across the state. Nearest one would be the South Columbia SoCo district in Kennewick.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
Councilmember Cleveland.
No questions, but I know we've done this for years. We really appreciate the formalized process where we have applications and we just kind of look at what we want to invest in as opposed to kind of a more of a haphazard here and there. Someone wants to talk to us about something. So thank you for that.
Councilmember Espinosa.
No questions.
Councilmember Peterson.
So Mike, the funding of this lodging taxes still?
No, it's current expense. So in past years, what happened is we provided a local match for that micro business assistance program. And then Mercy Corps Northwest, they got a new executive director and they decided they were just going to stop providing any direct service across the entire country. They're just merely backing up folks who are doing things. So they completely pulled out of the valley. And then the money we would have thrown as a local match of that, we just reprogrammed into this.
Very clear. Thanks, Mike.
Councilmember Williams
No questions. Thank you.
and Councilmember Sherman.
No questions. Thanks, Mike.
All right, if we have no further questions or comments, do we have a motion on this resolution?
I'll motion to adopt resolution number 24-017 allocating fiscal year 2024 community grant program proceeds.
Second,
second?
Councilmember Williams.
Great, we have a first and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Thank you all. Ms. Rizzatello is also going to present on the fiscal year 2024 Summer Youth Recreation Program Provider, which is the Walla Walla YMCA.
Hey, thank you. So this item, we went over at the last city council workshop, but just as a refresher, this all started from community surveys the School of Business students at the university conducted some years back, where one of the top things that the residents desired was youth recreation programs, specifically in the summer. So since that time, we partner with United Way, where they provide matching funds to the city up to 10,000, and then we jointly pick a provider to provide the programs. And the key thing is that the programs actually be delivered inside the city of College Place. So with this, in years past, it's been Campfire, but they've gone through a changeover and they're still finding their way. So in this case, we did a RFP and published it throughout the community. We received one response that was from the YMCA last year when Campfire reimagined what they were doing and weren't able to provide services last year. YMCA stepped up and provided a great service at the Kiwanis Park. And again, that's the proposal this year. And you can see it's that there's definitely a lot of material there working in concert with the programming over at the school district. But yeah, this is a proposal. It went before our Park Harbor and Recreation Advisory Board. They unilaterally voted to recommend this to City Council. It's key to get this thing voted on so that way supplies and stuff can be ordered so they can respond in time. And then just for public notice on this, I do serve on the Y board. So
Understood. Thank
Yeah.
you. Councilmember Jessup?
No.
Councilmember Cleveland?
No questions.
Councilmember Espinosa?
No questions.
Councilmember Peterson?
Mike, a little bit off subject, perhaps. I'll make this rapid, but do we have a mechanism, the city, for donations from the citizens that could be made into a program like this? In other words, I don't know. I'm not sure it's a nonprofit donation or a deductible donation to the city, how that works, but if it was communicated to the citizens to help fund or assist in the funding of items like this, this may be a pipe dream, and obviously this is the next year or 2 years out or something, but this is something that kind of does the heart strings as far as the good for the community. And I was just curious of what your thoughts are on that, Mike.
Yeah, so for this specific program, folks can donate to United Way and essentially earmark it for that. And every year when we've gone through the contract, we put a hyperlink and a QR code to that in the newsletter that gets mailed out to everyone. So if folks choose that as the avenue to do that. I will say, and this is more of like a midterm thing because there's a lot of legalese related to this, but the police and fire departments are investigating with City Attorney Caldwell and others about potentially reconstituting like a community foundation, which would do like what you're saying, but there's a lot of minutia to that, so we can't just stand up stuff like that immediately. But that is something that's being investigated. But for now, the easiest avenue to donate would be via the United Way, and then just put in there you're earmarking it toward this program.
I'd also say that I once asked that, and finance said it would be a nightmare for them to be able to manage and what's the word? Administer, account for. That's what I'm thinking. Account for what the money was for, who it came, what kind of account to put it in. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
So back to the mothership.
Yeah, for now, best ways of deduction. If we were to do the community foundation, it would be a separate thing where there would need to be like a separate like group of director folks, so that way it doesn't like hit governmental books. So
Strictly,
yeah, so more come on that because that's yeah.
But this is something that sometimes you think, anyway, thanks.
Yeah, and I can say because I was involved in getting like separate funds going like for the land trust. It's a very involved process. It'll be like 2 years, but it's like doable.
Thanks, Mike.
Councilmember Williams?
Do we know what the enrollment was last summer?
Yeah, the involvement last summer is we basically had about 50 slots filled and then and as at the start and then throughout the summer as you go week by week, it ebbs and flows because of what different families are doing and so forth. But that essentially was the median. And at the start there actually was a waiting list. But yeah, it just went, and last year was a bit of a cluster because of the whole campfire thing, which I
Right.
can get into. So
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to, this is such a wonderful program. And so I think we'll have to keep an eye on it to see if we need to, expand it.
well, and I will say, wearing one of my other hats, the whiteboard hat, I believe there is going to be like opportunity to do that because there is a discussion afoot about like a satellite facility over here in College Place. So
Awesome.
more to come.
Councilmember Sherman.
No question. I just assume that if we approve this, it will double your board salary, Mike.
Yeah, right.
From 0 to
Yeah,
0.
From zero times zero. Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. No
Yeah.
questions. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Mike.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any further questions, comments, discussions? If not, do we have a motion for this resolution?
I'll motion to adopt resolution number 24-018 awarding fiscal year 2024 Summer Youth Recreational Provider Award to Walla Walla YMCA.
Second, Peterson.
Right, we have a first and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, clerk, did you hear everybody's vote? Yeah, that's what I thought. Councilmember Espinosa, can you revote, please?
Aye.
Oh,
Great, thank you. And that was aye for in favor. All right. So it's unanimous. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of where I was at. Okay. So it's unanimous. The ayes have it and the motion is passed. That's where I'm at. Thank you. All right, it's a good thing we're on the last item because I already got lost. The last action item is the resolution of support for the Community Outdoor Athletic Facilities Grant for North Central Kiwanis Park. And Mike, you're still up.
yep. Thank you. So this item was reviewed at length last workshop. So there is hopefully the funding for this grant program will continue in the future, but for now it's one time because it's from the Climate Pledge Arena development, and then they just threw all the impact fees into like a state recreation grant program. So this is like brand new. So with this item, it's for outdoor athletic facilities that are listed in a park plan. At the last workshop, we went over essentially the two options, and the option desired the most to seemingly have linear path was to go after Kiwanis Park and just to go over that item. So keep in mind when that park was rehabbed it's already been about 7 years already. It was only a southern half of the park. So we added the pickleball courts, the basketball court, and the parking lot, restrooms, and that was the limit of it. It didn't really touch the northern half of the park at all. So this grant was, if awarded, would take care of the items listed in the adopted park master plan from 2018, which is as follows. So re-roofing the gazebo, which you can see at the corner second and date. It has leaking issues. Also putting a walking path around the perimeter of the park that was listed in the plan. Fixing up the baseball diamond and the northern portion of the park property. And then we would touch up some of the southern portion. So big issues over there is that, for instance, pickleball courts have gotten so much use, they're getting pitted, and I get a lot more complaint. I didn't even know that was a thing, but based on the email chains I get constantly, it is. So that needs to apparently, so this is a way to help fund that. Also likewise, and in past years, I know in the capital facility plan showed pictures of as such, especially in the spring and the fall when the sun sets earlier, folks, they actually have brought out their own lighting units to go play in the early evening. And then we get complaints from the neighbors like, hey, there's plumbing lighting right in my window. So in this case, it would be to get some of that more focused, energy efficient lighting at a timer right over the courts. So with this grant, if approved, we would file it. The pre-app is due this week, and then they'll narrow it down and go from there, and we'll see what happens, because this is a brand new grant program, so don't really know how they're going to sort stuff out.
All right, Councilmember Jessup. Councilmember Cleveland,
No question?
Councilmember Espinosa,
No questions?
Councilmember Peterson.
So Mike, when I go to a Coldplay concert at the Climate Pledge Arena, the Live Nation, are part of those fees?
Not the existing fees, it's just the development. When they built that arena, you have impact fees. So
Okay.
the developer had to pay a whole bunch of money for a fund, and then that fund, the state decided to go throw into this grant program.
So it isn't in life?
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
But now I'm a little jealous to know that you went to see Coldplay at Climate Pledge Arena. Councilmember Williams,
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Sherman.
No questions. Thanks, Mike.
All right, is there any additional discussion? All right, hearing none, do we have a motion?
I move to adopt resolution 24-01, which supports application into the State Recreation Conservation Office Community Outdoor Athletic Facilities Grant Program for Kiwanis Park North Central renovations.
I think you missed the 9 there.
Second, Councilmember Espinoza.
Okay, we have a first and a second, and just for clarification, it's resolution 24-019.
Thank you for correcting me.
All right, any further discussion? All right, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Councilmember Espinosa, we didn't hear your vote.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, it's unanimous. The ayes have it and the motion is passed. Thank you, everybody. There's no administrative reports on the agenda tonight, and there's no informational reports in your packet. Luckily, we do not have an executive session either. So we're down to closing items. So is there any other business for good of the order? All right, hearing none, do we have a motion to conclude? All right, we have a first, we have a motion, Councilmember Cleveland, is that correct? Is there a second?
Second, Councilmember Williams.
All right, we have a first and a second, so there's no objections. The meeting is concluded at 7:34 PM. Thank you all. Appreciate your
Good job.
involvement. Thank you.
Good job.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good evening.
You too.